your textbook uh, had you format MLA format. And so I chose to use that for the test as well. But one thing I want to note is MLA is used for liberal arts and humanities. If you're studying any of the sciences, you're probably going to your teachers are going to start um, requiring APA format. So you need to know that they do have some differences that you should follow. But I want to make sure that you follow the guidelines and that you're aware of these online guidelines because they really do give you the basics. And there's more to all of them, and that's the reason why they tell you to refer to these handouts and papers, and they change all the time. And I'm going to give you some examples that I wanted to make sure we covered. Okay, the general guidelines talk about Times New Roman. The font size is 12, one space after a period, or other punctuation, unless otherwise instructed by it, because word processors now have a period and a space, which means that gives proportional spacing, and it gives an extra space there. So that explains that part of it. The margins should be set at 1 inch all the way around. Now, the only time you change your side margins on a report is if it's a bound report, and that would be the left side margin. Okay, now you indent the first line of the paragraph, 1/2 inch using a tab, and the header for numbers is on all pages consecutively, but it also notes that your instructor may say that you omit the page numbering on the first page. And since we're just learning this, I'm just going to say you don't have to admit it. Keep just with the guidelines that are here. If you do endnotes, this test does not require endnotes. You're supposed to have them on a separate page before the works cited. So I just really suggest going through these guidelines because you're going to find things are real specific. You should center your title and use title case. Nothing in all caps or anything like that. Create a header in the upper right corner that includes your last name followed by a space with the page number. And this gives you the basic layout right here. And as you come down this section, you'll find that it has level 1 headings and level 2 headings. The test that I gave you had paragraph headings. Those are different, but you can format them using the level 2 format. Okay, now let's go down a little further, and I wanted to talk about the basics in citations, and see, I had it highlighted here, but it does mention here that when you're doing a footnote, the footnote should be indented, and I don't know that I highlighted I did highlight this portion when it talks about in today's world we are referencing works cited from the internet all the time. And I think that most of us, when we're writing papers, we're going to be researching from the internet. So if you're not using a book source, you need to know the formats for the internet. Now, the older formats made you include the website, but if you come down to the bottom of this, on the quotations, it says, and I'll get down to the bottom, and it's pretty far down, closer to page 52. There it is. This is an important note regarding URLs in MLA. APA had the same specifications. It changed. It says they no longer require the use of URLs in their citations because web addresses are not static. They change often, and because documents sometimes appear in multiple places on the web. And so MLA explains that most readers can find electronic resources via the title or author searches in internet search engines. So that is really an important aspect of citing websites. Now I find, see, now this is showing you that you can use um, a part of the site if it's coming from a particular site, like this one's MIT EDU. It You can use that. And now what I find when I've worked on with groups is oftentimes people in the group don't know how to do their citations, and having them put in their web URL where they found it saves me a lot of aggravation, because then I can go to that site and find who was the author, what was the information on that particular article that they're quoting. So these are some things that you need to be aware of. But I'm going to go through now and format your paper on, so hopefully help you understand. Okay, first off, this was your test paper right here, and you notice it didn't have anything. And one of the first requirements on this test paper was to make it double spaced. So we're going to do a select all with a Control A, come to the paragraph format, and make it double spaced. Now I also could have done all this line spacing here and just hit the number 2. Okay, now I need to put in my class information, so I hit enter one time. Came up above there. Normally I type this, but I've got it in memory, so that's what it would be, is your name, the instructor's name, the name of the course, and the date. And notice everything just is evenly double spaced. Nothing is unusual there. Okay, now the next thing I do is put in that header. An easy way to put in the header is just to double click up in the header option, up in this area where it's going to appear. Now, and the second way, of course, would be to go to your insert header. Okay, header footer. But this just gives you to the header option. And now what I would do is hit my tab. That gives me the center tab that comes in every header, and the right tab. Put in my last name, space, and I come to my insert menu and insert the page number at the current position, and it's just a plain number. And there you go. So I can close out of my header, and the header portion is finished. Now they did mention that this should all be Times New Roman, 12 points. So again, I'm going to do a select all, choose Times New Roman, 12 points, and I've got my general format. I should probably make sure that my header was in Times New Roman as well. Okay, so now I'm out of the header, and the main title is supposed to be bold and centered, and title case, and that one is. Okay, now you can do this also for future reference. You could use the styles menu, and what I would do with these is I would come in and modify them to MLA format and say, okay, it should be Times New Roman, 12 points, bold, come to the format, hit your paragraph, and say nothing before and 12 points after. And now that's the title format for this one. And then I want to do my heading style, heading 1 style, modify it. That one would be the format of the paragraph, would again be, I can just put it double spaced with 0 after and 0 before. And then I would want to put it as Times New Roman, 12 points, bold. Okay, that's my heading 1 style. Now the heading 2 style was Times New Roman, 12 points, and bold, and let's see, paragraph format, was double spaced, 0, 0, but it was italics, and it is italics. Okay, so that's my heading 2 format. So I'm just following the formats that they gave me in the OWL Purdue for MLA format. Now I need to indent my paragraphs. So if I'm looking at this thing and I turn on my paragraph format, I can see that, all right, every place I hit enter, that's considered a paragraph. Now some of these are headings. So I'm going to hit my tab key, and that's that first paragraph. This one is obviously a heading, so I'm just going to, it's heading number 1. I tab in, and next line is a paragraph, obviously a heading here, and I tab, and a heading. And again, what I'm looking at is where I've hit, where enter has been hit in this report. So there's a tab, and a heading, and a tab, and a tab. And then we have a bulleted list, and a tab. Now this one, you can see that the first line of this paragraph has a period after it. So therefore, that one is going to be heading number 2 style, and it should have gone in italics. What happened? Let me go back and look to make sure that I made heading number 2 italics. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And now we have, come on to the next one. Again, a paragraph heading. This one is heading number 2. And the difference in this is it said that level 2 headings should be aligned at the left. However, these are paragraph headings, so they're just introducing the paragraph. So they're still level 2 heading, but it's introduction for a paragraph. And here, heading number 2, and then I would come down 1 and hit my tab again, and I'm just about, oh, there's some other paragraphs here. There's one here, heading number 2, and this one has no paragraph heading, so it's just talking about that one. Okay, so now I've got the basics. I've got the basic layout, but now I want to look at the references that were listed in this particular report. And if I look at the references, I see that, okay, let's look at this reference. Ha! The URL was listed. And if I was going to do it properly, I would take out all of this portion of it and then just list it like that. Okay, that would be okay. Or I mean, this one was taken in 2011, or to take out the entire URL. And then like I said before, that depends on teacher preferences. But we're gonna just look at this, and for right now, I am looking to see, this one came from Oprah Live, same guy. All right, and let's see what we've got here. Another Oprah one. And that makes so much sense. I don't know if, you know, now that we use the web a lot, oftentimes these sources just, the links are not any good anymore. All right, so your test mentions the footers that footnotes, I'm sorry, that you need to put in on this. So we're going to the first one where it says main dish. And in order to get there, I would probably do a find and just type in main dish. And looks like that's the paragraph. Now, the one thing that I did see as a lot of people were putting their reference in after the period, it should come in before the period. So you're going to click in here and references, insert your footnote, and I actually have a copy of this text that I gave you. So I am going to copy it and then just paste. And the I'll produce says to indent the first line of the foot. All right, next one is the I'm going to look for the weight and shape. Let's look for the word shape. I'm here again, next inside the period, and let's take that reference, and we're doing insert your footnote. Margin formatting and tab that first line in. Okay, so we have set our footnotes. The last thing we were supposed to do was the works cited page. And the biggest mistake that I see with those new to word processors, or those of you that have been using them for a while and using them incorrectly, is they start hitting enter until they get to the next page. You know, if there's anything that you come out of this class, make sure that you understand that there's a page break, and that is gonna save your life in a lot of incidences. So if I come here and I click on insert, I can go into well, maybe it's in layout. Oh, there, no, it's here, page break. And notice that you can also do it with the control and a return. So I use the control enter method. That's why I had to double check where this one was on the menu. But it's a control enter. So I'm down here with my cursor, control enter, got my new page, and then I come to references, hit my bibliography references, works cited, and the OWL Purdue says that this should be with a single space with an extra space after. So I'm going to come in to my references and add the space after. Now that generally gives you pretty much the correct format for your works cited. Oh, you do need to center this title. That will give you the format for your works cited. However, what happens is you need to double check to make sure it's coming out correctly according to the guidelines for references for MLA format if you're using MLA, because there's different formats for MLA and APA style, and you need to make sure that you're using the right format for each style. Double check everything, and your English teachers will love you, and you'll really enjoy making reports. So I hope this helped, and have a nice day.